Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for June 26, 2023, the Siloed in China edition. We begin with that story from the Wall Street Journal as companies are trying a new strategy to maintain business operations in China as tensions arise between Washington and Beijing, and that's siloing. Western companies are siloing parts of their business in China to lower risks by shifting to a model which relies on local partner to operate products and services there, effectively isolating China from business operations. I hope they've talked to their compliance folks to make sure the Chinese aren't engaging in their well-known proclivities for bribery and corruption. Next up from the Washington Post, Jennifer Rubin asks, was Sheldon Whitehouse right? The Supreme Court has been corrupt all along. The column looks at the issues most recently surrounding Samuel Alito and notes that Sheldon Whitehouse has argued for years that a flood of dark money flowing through right-wing groups has corrupted the Supreme Court. And boy, it sure appears to be true now. Next up from the New York Times, AI's use in elections is setting off a scramble for guardrail. Gaps in campaign rules allow politicians to spread images and messaging generated by increasingly powerful AI intelligence technology. What does that mean for elections? And our final story comes to us today from the Financial Times, which says, office oversharing is a TMI SOS. Our post-pandemic personal lives are in a mess. And many people are sharing about this in office in ways they had not done so pre-pandemic. Is it too much information? Is it too much sharing? To the author, this midlife barrage of events has hallmarks of clearing way too much information. It's a navigation of treacherous territory, whatever you might want to call it. These attempts at professional poise have really taken a back seat after the pandemic, and now we have TMI SOS with workers at all levels sending up emergency flares. It's a constant onslaught of exhausting revelations. It could be the health of your parents. It could be the health of your spouse. It could be keeping morale up. But it's becoming more and more ubiquitous, and people are having to readjust their office etiquette and delicacies around all of these issues. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.